All right, I'm gonna try this again. I had a little problem with my camera earlier. I've got a mulberry tree here. Hopefully you can see the mulberries. I won't know until I get inside, but got an absolute ton of mulberries on this thing this year, and that's good. This tree is been in the ground for about 4 years, and it was when it was planted, it was about, yeah, thanks for the commentary. When it was planted, it was approximately 4 feet tall, maybe. And as you can see, it is probably close to 30 now. It was the main reason why this tree grows so well is this is the favorite place for the chickens to hang out. Of course, right now they're out here because I'm out here. And they all decided, I wonder if he's going to give us something. I'm not. But anyway, this mulberry tree is, like I said, it's been in the ground 4 years. It could have been in 5, but I think it's 4. And it is absolutely loaded with mulberries this year, and it's gotten very, very tall. This mulberry tree was planted at the same time, and it's also got quite a few mulberries on it. It's a black mulberry. And last year we didn't get any mulberries. We had repeated 2-3 weeks of real warm weather during the winter, and then a hard frost, then 2 or 3 weeks of warm weather, and then a hard frost. This could be a red, but I think it was a black. And anyway, as you can see, it's growing nicely. It's been in the ground the same length of time, but it's not nearly as tall because they mostly spend their day there and fertilize it a lot. I've got another mulberry over here that is mostly a male that puts on a few fruit. And I'm probably going to end up cutting him down this year and replace him with something else next year, because I don't really need a male mulberry on my property. This is just a little quick kind of view of what we're developing here, what we're growing on the property to feed the animals and feed ourselves. These are autumn olives, and so you're getting ready to rebloom. To date, I've not gotten an autumn olive off of these, and I don't know, it's not impossible. We may try to knock them out if we don't start doing something someday soon. These are a wild blackberry, and they're pretty good blackberry. They're not as large as I'd like. They're nowhere near as large as my domestic ones, but they're a nice mulberry as long as I keep them cut down in front of them so I can reach them. They do very nicely. We're also going to be over there. You got a cherry. It's a wild cherry. The domestic cherry died and it grew, and I just haven't cut it down yet. And since the size it is, it's, gives the chickens a lot of cover between these 3 trees. And if I put another one, I'm gonna try to cut him down again. He gets cut down every couple of years. Anyway, I'm probably gonna put another tree in somewhere in this area to help give some cover for the chickens from hawks and other things like that. We have not lost a chicken to a hawk in about 3 years, so the cover is helping a lot. We have lost several to owls, but that's a whole nother story. They've actually taken some of them actually in the coop. Anyway, we have a hazelnut here, and that one's gotten grass growing up around him rather badly. I'll probably have to do something with him. Another hazel with a couple of sumacs growing around him, and I probably ought to pull the sumacs out. And this is a hybrid hazel, and I've got these wild types to hopefully pollinate with them. And so far he hasn't done anything. They look decent. They have grown moderately well, but we have an acidic soil, and they like a sweet soil. And we also, just a couple inches down, have clay. So it's not their favorite place to grow. Got a few more down that way. And over here, We have one of my more favorite items on the property, although they did not produce a fruit at all last year. These are American chestnuts. They are the Duniston variety. This is one of the medium-sized ones, not one of the first two we put in. The first two we put in are over here, and this one's, I don't know, what is it, maybe 15, 16 feet tall. If he was going straight up, he'd be taller, but he's kind of bunching out and bushing out. Have quite a few catons on him, and he looks like he'd like to do something this year. Last year, like almost everything else, we got almost no fruit because of on anything, or nuts on anything, because of the repeated very warm, and then things would try to produce a fruit, and then we get a hard freeze. We had that 3 times last year. This is the tallest of my American chestnuts, and I can't tell whether I got glare on my phone. Yeah, okay. And as you can see, he's trying to outgrow the very old very old oak tree over here, but he's looking good, and he has some catons on, not as many as other years, but he's actually got some up there in the higher areas. This one and this one have both produced fruit in the past, and we like them very well. So hopefully we'll have more. And I've got some in the greenhouse that I've managed to root, or at least I hope I have. They're making it long into the season. This is a pawpaw, and that's a hybrid pawpaw. This is also a hybrid pawpaw. This one actually put on blooms this year, and I took a couple of pictures of the blooms. Kind of interesting. People told me they smell real bad, and I smelled them, and it didn't really smell that bad to me, so I wasn't really all that worried about it. And another hybrid pawpaw, and then we got a couple of wild ones on the other side of some of our trees. We have all right, a couple more chestnuts, another autumn olive that has also never produced any fruit, and a pecan, more or less a wild type pecan. I'm kind of curious to see what it does. It's a big, pretty plant, so it's growing well. I'm just going to leave it. Don't really care. I got the room for it. Another chestnut. This one's got lots and lots of catons on him, and kind of all over the place. And maybe one of these guys will decide to give me some fruit this year, because we like them very well. Got another American chestnut over there, one there, and I've got a bunch of little pines and stuff like that, or not pines, with a couple of little oaks growing in different places. This is a sumac, and we've got a bunch of them on the property. They are something very easy to let them grow, and they produce a fruit that the chickens eat and like in the fall. We have some plums that have just really never done anything. Got some wild plums over here, which I get some fruit off of now and again, and I'd like to get my fence down closer to the road where it needs to be. Time is just one of those things that I have to deal with right now, and whenever I get them down a little further, I'm going to put a bunch of Boletus edulices along underneath the pines and try to get them growing. Probably may put some in this year anyway, when mine are producing. This is a Foyu persimmon, and I was looking at him the other day, and I don't see any fruit starting, but I'm not going to swear to that until a little bit later in the year. These things are good. I like them. We like them. My wife's kind of not a big fruit eater, and she actually loves them. So again, just kind of a walk around so you can see what we actually have on our property for our chickens to run around, hide in, under, and I cut the grass oddly on purpose. It gives more cover, harder for any hawks or anything like that to bother them. more area here where I need to get cleaned under and get my fence over that way. And a lot more pines to put some good Boletus eduluses under. And these are the Ariana berry, and they're actually growing pretty well this year. They've taken off, and with any luck, they'll actually produce some fruit maybe in the next year or two. So got a couple more Arianas here and there, and a few other odds and ends in the property that I've planted and seen what would grow and what wouldn't, and some of them I just haven't replaced yet. So anyway, and on the other side of the on the other side over there, I've got a lot of fruit trees, and I'll probably walk over there another day, but this one's probably gone on long enough now. So all right, I'm gonna let you go. If you like this sort of thing, I would ask you to subscribe. Bye.